Welcome back to the 10th Pint Podcast. We're here with me, Luke, as normal, and Beefing.
You alright, lads?
And today we're here with the boys from Lux Collective, Ben and Joe. How are we, boys?
Good, thank you. Thanks for inviting us on. I appreciate it.
Nah, it's a pleasure. So we normally get started off with, like, what is Lux Collective for anyone that doesn't know?
Yeah, so we're basically, the easiest way to put it is a pre-loved fashion company that buys and sells footwear, accessories, clothing, bags, but exclusive for women. I kind of like to describe it as like a safe place to buy and sell. So like 100% authentic. There's no worries of getting scammed or anything, which is like why, like, a main reason why we began the brand. But yeah, I love to describe it, and more recently so, it's like a safe place to shop for pre-loved designer wear.
Yeah. What's like separates you from other similar companies? Like, why are you the company that they should go to, rather than that the consumer goes to, rather than the other company? Because everyone's gonna say they're a safe and authentic brand.
Yeah. So everyone thinks they're the best in it.
Yeah.
I think what we've done over the past few years is always tried to create like a better service. And I think when we first began, it was like, how can we do it better? Like we looked at other companies and we were like, we can do this better. And
it's building community too.
I think building community is the main one, but like the service from start to finish, we provide quicker payment, so 24 hours. So if you've got something to sell on the Monday, so today, you could have money in your bank account by this time tomorrow, or even quicker.
Yeah.
Our response time is faster than everyone else's. Our authentication, we like to think, is better than everyone else's. We've teamed up with a team in New York to help us get our authentication, as they describe it, 99.8%.
So I was like, my bird told me to ask this. I was I can't say the word, but how's that all done then? What's the process?
The authentication.
Yeah.
So just through data really. So this company that we do use now.
Yeah.
So because of the amount of bags they've seen, the amount of fabrics, the amount of styles built up over a certain period of years.
Yeah.
They've got all this data, and then you put all the information into this. It's like an iPod.
Yeah.
And then they've got like a step-by-step way of taking all the pictures that you need to take of all the security tags, specific parts of the bag, so that they can microscopically identify the fabrics that get used. So obviously, if you get counterfeit or fake ones, they'll be nowhere near as good as the actual genuine fabrics, and they can tell through the
So
images.
if they're genuine, it will match up with something in their database. And if it doesn't match up with anything, it doesn't say it's not authentic. It just says it's unidentified. It's not been matched. So that basically means that it's not real.
So you have like many cases of like you getting sent something and it hasn't been authentic, or
so like all the time, like every day. But the thing is, we pay after it's been inspected. So the process would be you'll reach out to us via our website. You'd fill out the form. We'd give you an offer. You then send you the item in to us, and we'd then authenticate it, condition check it, and then if it passes those two tests, we'll then send you the payment. If it doesn't, we'll just let them know that the item's not been authentic.
Yeah, so going back to the start, like, where did the idea come from? Because it's a big commitment starting a business, and especially like being brothers.
Yeah.
Like, whose idea was it, and then?
Well, you did a TikTok on this ages ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
The idea was initially Ben's to do what we're doing now. However, I used to do some business with my mate, and he had a men's one.
Yeah.
And being from Liverpool, you two will know that.
Yeah, how many men's ones?
How many left, right, and centre people were popping up? Like, how old are you guys?
21.
Yeah, both of us are.
Yeah. So
you'll see them first hand, especially.
like you could name about 100. Like, because like we found like in Liverpool, what people would do is, because like lots of people wear just designer items, don't they? Like from head to toe, when they go out there, wear designer.
Yeah.
And people would, especially from people I knew, they would just set up accounts from. Set up an Instagram account, because it was when you could sell through Instagram really easily. Yeah. Set up an Instagram account of just pictures of what was in their wardrobe, and just ask their mates, "Oh, do you have anything to sell? Let me show it on my page." And because like there was lots of people doing it, lots of people thought it was easy to set up, so it was like coming up, like just like I said before, left, right, and centre. And then like Joe's always done stuff in terms of like entrepreneurial, like buy and sell stuff, and then I've always wanted to do it because I've seen Joe do it, and obviously as his younger brother I wanted to follow in his footsteps and that.
Yeah.
And then there was just a time where like we'd be looking through all these Instagram pages, and we'd be going, like, we can do this better. Like there's something, like no one had websites. It was just all through Instagram. Like all the pictures were the same. Like all the service was the same. Like it was just so samey. And then I was like to Joe, do you want to start something like this? And he was like, yeah. but like we knew we couldn't start a menswear one because there was too many menswear ones. So we were like, okay, right, what can we do? And then we tried to look for a women's wear one, didn't we? And we just couldn't find a women's wear one anywhere. And we were like, right, let's do that. And then Joe was taking a loan out for the car at the time. So
That I've still got.
yeah, that's a car that he still got. £10,000 he took out in it, and then he had 1,000 left over. And I never took out. I saved up like 200 quid, and then that's how we started the business. So with £1,200.
And as you can imagine, if with designer stuff, you know how expensive they are.
Yeah.
£1,200, not a lot of capital to start
Not going
on.
far,
So it's
though.
a long, like it's a long time to build up.
Yeah, I think we were rotating like 3 or 4 pairs of shoes like for the first 3-6 months, innit?
Yeah, I remember we had a WhatsApp group, just obviously me and him, and this was the early days. Our target was like to sell 20 items a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that took us ages.
Yeah, that took us ages to get to the point where our target was 20, and that was an audacious target.
Yeah.
So it's like,
We looking
Yeah.
back at that.
yeah, it's mad to see.
You've had like a lot of setbacks. Like obviously at the start, it must have been hard, especially with like a high priced item as well.
Yeah.
So back to, I'd say, motivation really at the start.
Yeah, because it was so slow and it took so long, and that's why you see so many Instagram pages in Liverpool, especially because it was like a big trend, like come up, and then like you just would never see them post again. And it definitely is, because there's a factor of when you get to a certain stage. Because I used to go to him all the time, like, when are we gonna start like making money? Like, when is it gonna start like picking up? And he just always used to say like, oh, trust the process. It's going to take a long time, but it's when the ball starts rolling, it will start rolling quickly, and it was just building up that momentum. But I think it made it so much easier to get through that like stage of motivation because we had each other. So like if it was just one of us, I say it to people all the time who are in business, like Ben, like he has his own business, doesn't he? Like I say it to Ben all the time, that like I feel sorry for people who are on their own. Like me and Joe have got it very easy because we're always on each other's backs. We're always providing each other with motivation, like inspiration. A lot of people don't have that. So yeah, we're very lucky in terms of like those setbacks we've been able to get
Also,
through because of each other, I would say.
Competitiveness as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he's selling something, I want to sell something more than him, or sell more of, or something more expensive.
Yeah.
You're always trying to outdo each other, aren't you? So
I think it was good as well because we're in the business, we operate in different ways and we focus on different things. So like if he was doing well at his side of the business, I would always be looking at it and be like, well, he's obviously moving the business forward in that way. I want to move it forward in a different way. And I think that competitiveness, we're naturally competitive. Like as kids, we've always been competitive with each other. And that definitely helped us as well.
What are your 2 roles in the business then on that topic?
So I would say me is head of marketing, or like content, what the customer sees basically. So all content, all the website, all the front facing stuff, and then you want to explain yours?
yeah, I'd say more back end. So to start with, before we got one of my mates called Ollie, I was doing pretty much all the operations side, and he's taken that away from me. So like how just day to day running of the business. So Ben would grow the business by social media, and I'd keep up with it by making sure the business actually runs and can compete with how fast we're growing. And obviously we get more people in. So we've got Ollie, and who's one of my mates, and he's amazing at doing that. And now I'm more focused on bringing stock in to actually
keep up
and sell.
Yeah, I'd say that was a great way of explaining it. The way we used to is like I would grow the business and you would keep up with the business. Like
Make sure it runs.
Make sure it runs, because if I was growing a business at the speed it was growing at, like last year, there was no way without Joe the back could have kept up, because I'm atrocious at all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like my organisation is very bad.
Yeah.
But like that's why like we've grown so quickly and grown so much is because of the 2 separate strengths we have.
Yeah.
And I think our weaknesses match each other's strengths and vice versa.
What would you say your weaknesses are?
My weakness is defo organisation. I'll be doing one thing, and then in the time I've started that thing, I would have started 5 other things as well, and then by the end of the day I've got nothing finished.
Yeah.
That's my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm like more like OCD. I want things doing in an organised way and make sure I get it done. And then obviously Ben's completely the opposite. And with me, I think he's better socially. Like on all social media platforms, you look at Ben's social media, and it's like he knows exactly what he's doing. He comes on podcasts. This is why I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Because I want to step out of my comfort zone and try and do a bit more of this, because I'm more used to just being like doing the like boring day-to-day jobs, but it's still important in my aspect as is. But yeah, I'd say my weakness is more this side of it, which I'm trying to improve on. That's why I've come on this.
I say you're coming across that well, like.
I know, yeah.
When, like I said before, when I came in, when I'm with him talking about what we do, it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more so when I'm on my own, it's more challenging. So this is a nice step to get into it.
What year did you start then?
So we started 2018, so I was 17, and then Joe was 23. You're 5 years older, 22?
Yeah.
22, yeah.
22.
And then for the first 2-3 years, it wasn't great. Like,
Not much happened.
Not much happened at all. Like, we got a little unit, but like it was still very slow. And then it was really the 6 months before lockdown we started getting a bit of momentum, and then lockdown came, and then we got brought back a bit, and we were like a stumbling, like you were saying before, like anything that was like setbacks. And probably the first month of lockdown we went from selling, like, it's not a lot, but it's like 100 items a month we were selling then, and then I think lockdown came, we went down selling like 10 items.
Yeah.
So we lost like 90% of business probably, and that was like a big blow. But it was like it was kind of liberating when lockdown came, because it was like a chance to try and grow the business in a completely different way to how we've tried before. And thankfully it paid off, what all the work we put in and those and the risks we took to kind of like.
It can completely change the way we actually do business now, obviously, because before lockdown, we used to get stuff in every single day and just put them up when we got it, like 8.
And we had a physical shop.
Yeah.
After lockdown, we just went fully on e-commerce.
Yeah, because obviously you couldn't see anyone in lockdown. Everyone was having to post the items to us, to our home address. We were cleaning them there and then doing drops. And then
Where was the shop? And what was like the... Because that must have been a hard decision when you're shutting something that's like a physical shop down.
Yeah, so to be honest, it was a place in Bootle called the Secret Warehouse. Like we owe them a lot for what they've done for us, in terms of they were so accommodating when we were in there, and we would recommend them to anyone who wants to start a business in Liverpool, and it's a great place to start. So what we did was we opened like an office space in there. It was like cheap, like the rent wasn't the rent. Yeah, the size of this, so not big at all. The rent was cheap, so it was like really good for us to get started. And then as we were growing, we would like knock through the walls, and at one point we had like a whole floor to ourselves, because like as we were growing, we kept on knocking through. And then that's what made the decision a little bit harder in it, because like we did all the work to this inside, like we called it a shop, it was really an office space.
An office space showroom type thing.
Yeah, where people could come in if they wanted to, but it wasn't really what fits our brand now. And looking back now, it's like we should have gone on e-commerce earlier, but obviously we needed to go through all those little things to understand that was the case. But I think the decision, I don't think it was too hard, to be fair. I think because lockdown forced us to work from home so much, we went from going into the shop, then going straight back from home, and it was kind of like working just online from home, wasn't it?
Was that like a sliding doors moment where you thought like that sort of? Because I'd see that if I owned like a business, I'd see that as a step back, shutting a shop down. I think most people would. Yeah,
I would say I don't think it was because of the things we were doing. So like revenue increased, sales increased, inquiries increased, engagement increased. So the only thing that was a negative out of all that is we had to close the shop.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really like, it didn't feel like a setback at all, did it?
No, it felt like just directing us how to do it even better, really.
Yeah.
So where did the name come from then?
Lux Collective.
Yeah.
So I've got it on my notes now. It's like from like 2018 when we started. It's like I wrote down Lux, because obviously like Lux is just luxury in French.
Yeah.
I was like Lux, then I was like Lusso, because that's luxury in Italian. And then I was like, well, we're going to be selling a collection of things, so like Lux Collection or Lusso Collection. And I was like, nah, that sounds rubbish. And then I just sent you basically a list of Lux Collection, Lux Collective, Lusso Collective, and Lusso.
Yeah, and we went for Lux Collective.
And we just went for Lux Collective, and it literally there wasn't that much thought into the name whatsoever.
So did you both have to leave like a job then to like pursue this like full time then?
Well, I did. I had so when I left uni, I got a job in an insurance company where Ben had a job as well before that.
Yeah, we both had the same job, so we both worked for Tesco.
Yeah.
And then we both worked for the same insurance company. I think, how long did you last at the insurance company?
I was there for like 3 months.
Yeah.
It's just something I couldn't do. You're on the phone to people all the time and they're just not screaming at you, but they're arguing with you about stuff that you're getting told to do. Like, they know you have to do this, but they're getting annoyed with you and you're like, well, this is what I've got to do. Like, I don't know what you want me to do about it.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't deal with people being like that with you on the phone. So I ended up moving to my mate's company who does he did a phone shop. So what we do, with phones, like old Apple phones, Samsung phones, stuff like that, which is kind of similar, which is...
It like refurbished them up, so like get them broken, refurbish them up and then sell them.
Which kind of gave us a good platform because of me working there, I had a good knowledge of like how an operation system would work for a similar thing. And then I was there for like 2 years, I think, just under 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to a point where we'd opened the shop and Ben had an offer to go to London for a job. But at the minute, like I was still had my full-time job. I couldn't risk going because it wasn't anything at the minute. And Ben had not, like, I was going to Ben, I was like, listen, like, you don't have a job. You've been offered this job, so you'll obviously get it again. It's like, at the moment, you've got no liabilities, nothing.
I was only 18 at the time. So.
And you didn't go to uni, so it's like, you got no risk. It's like, just see how this goes for 3-4 months. And then if it goes well, then I can join. But I couldn't physically do it then because obviously I had outgoings because obviously I'd been to uni, just got a car, and it's like...
It was more risk for you, innit? There was no risk for me at all.
Yeah, because we
but like at the time, I was like, this is the biggest decision of my life. Like, like it's a massive decision, but it wasn't. Like looking back now, it wasn't, but it did feel like that. And yeah, so I was at the insurance company that Joe was at, and then it was like opening the shop. I only lasted a month, so Joe lasted 3 months. I only lasted a month. They obviously mustn't have liked us in there. Yeah, and then it was just after that, it was very easy. I think 6 months in, you came in after I took the like leap of like going full time with Lux Collective and like opening the shop. And then you joined after 6 months when we thought we could afford it. Looking back now, we probably should have waited longer.
Yeah.
But I think
you were
just itching to get out of your job and wanting to like work for yourself, kind of thing. Yeah. And then yeah, that's basically how we both went full time.
What did your mum and dad say about it?
So this when Ben had to like make the decision of leaving like this opportunity of going to London.
Yeah. So
before this, I was always telling my dad, and my dad was like, I don't think he believed in it fully.
Defo never.
And me mum,
but like because they're very caring people, like they were like, we just want you to be secure, stable, like do this, do that, like, and then that's fine. And I think like us two trying to do something that was against like the norm of what they thought, they probably were a bit, well, they were definitely like worried for us because they're definitely worriers in it. And and because it's like two of the kids, it's not just like one of them doing it, it's two of them doing it together, so it's even more risk.
Yeah.
But I think dad certainly, when I was making a decision, he was similar to you. And then I think with mum, it was just like, just do whatever you want, and because like you'll always have a roof over your head, you'll always have food to eat. Like the worst thing is that you'll have to go off and get a job in the end. And then luckily it's taken off, and like at the moment, I say at the moment, but like for the past few years, they couldn't be happier for us.
Yeah, they love telling all the friends and the mates what we do.
Yeah.
On that topic that we just spoke about, risk, like how important is it to take risk in business, do you think?
I think like for me, I think like without risk there's no point, but like I love taking risks. So I was speaking to someone the other day and I was saying, like even down to like the smallest of things in terms of like social media. So like on TikTok, we might post a risky TikTok, like although like it's very, very small in terms of business, a lot of people might get upset, a lot of people might get offended. Like we've done videos before where they've got like 2 million views or 3 million views, and the amount of people on there that like are like slandering us for like the opinion we're putting across. And like if you would have looked and seen, you would have got that kind of like reaction before you posted it, I still would be like, yeah, but I still would have posted it because it's got the kind of like reach and got the kind of like the attention that we wanted from the post. And I was speaking to someone the other day and I was saying I take these risks on social every single day, like trying to start small so that the bigger risks and the bigger decisions become easier in business. So like when you're hiring someone, or when you've got a big order to pay for, or a new company you want to collaborate with or something like that, like those risks become a lot smaller when you start taking small risks every single day. Like if you take risks frequently every single day all the time, those bigger risks just don't become risky. And people say that all the time to us, like, oh, how important the risks. Like I just think it's standard, like yeah, like you have to take them.
Isn't that negative to the brand image? Like couldn't you say that at the same time?
Yeah, you could argue that, but I think that's the kind of brand image we've created in terms of like we are very flexible and very transparent and very open with what we put across and put out to our followers. And I think it's respected in a certain way by some followers who understand what we do, but then if they're new to seeing what we do, it does cause a bit of controversy, but
Yeah.
there's nothing bad about a little bit of controversy.
You just
in my
mentioned the
opinion.
video there with like 2 million views. What was
Yeah.
the opinion you said, which had people...
It was about Molly-Mae's 24 hours in a day opinion.
Oh, this is
Nah,
a good,
that's-
this is a
Exactly,
good topic.
exactly. It's a touchy subject for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like I speak to a lot of people about it, and the opinions still are split. And I get why they are, and I get why it got so much controversy. And yeah,
Do you agree with it? Or do you like partly agree, or do you disagree?
no, it was when I put the video out. It was like I stand by Molly-Mae of what she said 100%. And then after I seen all the comments and the people coming back to her thing and like of what she said, it kind of like widened my perspective, and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I didn't think of that when I was posting it. But the opinion I was saying was just like, yeah, I agree with her. She may worded it wrongly, but the point she was trying to convey was, in my opinion, a good point. It was a motivating point. She was trying to be inspiring, not like condescending or anything, but she probably should have been more
thoughtful of
thoughtful
how to say
of
it.
how she was saying it. Yeah. Why? What do you guys think?
I agree to a degree, but at the same time, she's at like... I know she's well on Love Island, and that's so she's sort of been given that platform to a degree, hasn't she? Don't get me wrong, as she worked hard, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just like, because she's at that big platform where there's like someone like me. I don't think I could. Like, I don't have the same 24 hours as her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. What's your opinion on it, Luke?
I have a bit more of a balanced opinion on that. I think it was very uneducated, what she said, and especially the timing after lockdown.
Yeah,
A lot of people are short of money and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's the last thing people want to be hearing. But at the same time, it's like,
It was a business podcast she went on.
yeah, it was on a bit. I actually watched it at the time before, like
Before
the
it went
clips come
viral
out,
and that, yeah.
and I thought she come across, apart from that, quite well on the podcast. But I do think saying that it was a little bit distasteful.
Yeah.
But I can see both sides of it, to be honest
As
with
you
you.
were watching it live, did you think?
I didn't think. No, I didn't think anything of it.
See, we were the same as well because we watched it as soon as it came out, and we were like I thought she come across really well there. Like
We were speaking about it in the office, innit?
It's like
And then,
what
like-
she was saying was like this is what we think. Like obviously, not everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, but if you work hard in those 24 hours, you will get your rewards. Like the time you do have spare, and if you do work hard in that time,
And then
you
the
will
perspective
only
of
go
everyone
further.
else's, where it was like, well, we have 4 kids to look after and I have 2 jobs. It's like, oh yeah, obviously there's people like that we didn't even think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
It's from our privileged position. Like she's in a privileged position to say that,
Yeah.
and so are we to think that.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to get perspective from people who have like 4 kids.
And I think that those comments that were on our TikTok video were like the best things that, not best things could have happened, but it was like, it was really insightful to understand all the different perspectives. And it was really educating.
Yeah, it was
and like
good.
we do the videos of our own opinions, and like still now to get those other perspectives
Yeah.
and to see what other people think about
Everyone's
all the hot
going
topics.
to look at that from their personal point of view of it and relate
exactly.
it back to themselves, aren't they?
Yeah.
And a lot of people like getting angry with certain things. So like some people will like take immediate offence to it and be like give their opinion rather than like think like outside the box and about like the whole way she said it, why she said it.
I think the main thing was she just didn't show. She just didn't let people be aware of her privileged position, or she never made herself aware of the privileged position she's in.
Like she wasn't like I'm so privileged to be where I am. Like I get that I've had a lot of opportunities, but everyone has those 24 hours to
Do you
work
know
hard.
Grace Beverley? Have you heard of her? She's like another female entrepreneur in business, and she's
amazing.
she portrays it impeccably every single time. She always acknowledges her sense of privilege and her position of privilege, and yeah, Molly-Mae should probably just take a little look at Grace Beverley, innit?
It's just experience though, isn't it? Obviously
Yeah,
she's
'cause
not,
she's still a kid, isn't she?
and Grace Beverly's had her own podcast, so she spoke to a lot more people before Molly has to come on to have that opinion.
Yeah,
I think she dealt with it well, Molly-Mae.
We won't be seeing her on a podcast anytime soon. I don't think.
Yeah.
She could. I remember reading she came on that. That was her first ever podcast to like get more onto it, so people could see and hear more from her.
And she
And it
came
just
out and she was
didn't-
like, "This is why I don't do them."
Yeah,
because
yeah, it
like
just didn't end well.
everything she says can get taken out of context very easily.
To be fair, on Twitter and stuff like that, in terms of grief, she's definitely up there.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
gets
yeah.
the most. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
definitely.
Yeah.
Like on that Twitter, it's terrible towards her.
Twitter's
Like,
such a toxic place.
I think TikTok's worse.
You think?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if it's because like some of the TikTok we posted about like football and stuff, just
Yeah.
because of the context of conversation,
Yeah.
and it's mad.
yeah.
To be fair, when we first started, or when I first started TikTok, because Joe's never really been on the TikTok, we used to, like, I personally used to get leathered, like Levered.
Nah, he did.
Swear down, like
He got a haircut once, and some of the abuse he was getting was funny, like. But
nah, not even that. Like before 2019, 2020, like when we were filming videos from like our house, like when in lockdown, like.
just random people saying mad stuff, like.
I can take it well, and I understand why people do it, and like I get it, but like it doesn't affect me at all.
It's probably
like, in the
because you've had
slightest.
2 older brothers giving it your whole
That's
life.
it. Like the reason why I don't take to the hate on social media is because I've grown up with brothers who've levered me my whole
Yeah.
life. So like I'm used to it, and I think just having that thick skin and having but a lot of people who do start social media. Maybe if like their only child, or like they have like a nice family, and they not that we don't have a nice family, but like do you know what I mean? Like like there wasn't like banter thrown around the family. If they get like hate on social media, they take it so personally, and it's very dangerous, and like it can cause a lot of
That's the
issues
unfortunate
with
thing
people.
about
Yeah.
social
Yeah,
media.
imagine
isn't
being
it?
like, I don't know, let's say a 15-year-old girl, have no siblings. If,
Yeah.
if you're getting grief on that, it's
Yeah.
going to affect you much more.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people that age that's what they want to do. The goal is to be an influencer, to get
Yeah.
on social
Yeah.
media,
Yeah.
to have a presence. But if you go on there and say the wrong thing or do something stupid, you could get leathered by like any age, any gender, and they just leather you for it. But
Yeah.
like you might think it's targeted at you.
It's not.
But it's not. It's just that's what people are like on social media.
Yeah,
It's like the whole cancel culture thing, isn't it? It's like Joe Rogan, it's sort of happened to him.
Yeah.
I was watching one of his podcasts the other day, and he said like his subscribers went through the roof because of it.
Oh
So if
yeah,
anything, it's been good for him.
it's like any publicity's good publicity. So like we got hate by I think that ended up being like 10,000, 20,000 comments on that Molly-Mae video. Even
Oh, there was loads.
Was
like
Yeah.
maybe even like 50,000.
And then people
I
were
swear.
having conversations with each other, arguing about what they were saying. And like someone would say, make a comment, someone would be like, "How can you think this?" Da, 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 and then it just keep going. It was mad.
But it's like Boohoo. Something came out about them a few years ago, and it was like really, really bad. Like I think it was something about workers, underpaid workers.
Yeah.
And the next day they had like a record day. So like,
Crazy.
It's madness, isn't it?
yeah,
What would you say the most like popular brand is, which is so?
for us,
Yeah.
it'll be Louis Vuitton or Balenciaga, just because
Yeah.
those brands are popping like in the newly like not used like how would you say?
I'd say recently Balenciaga's through the roof.
Oh,
just
Balenciaga
selling.
are doing an impeccable job of whatever they're doing.
And obviously Louis Vuitton's a more higher price point and it's more bag orientated from our perspective.
And it's been I feel like Louis Vuitton has just been a popular brand for
forever.
Like with Balenciaga, it's probably only been popular in the last 10, 15 years in terms of like mainstream. Louis Vuitton, like it's been popular for years and years and
And it
years.
always
And I
will
think it
be.
will always be one of our
What
most
do you
popular
think on,
brands.
do you know, Balenciaga, the way they release like sort of bag clothes,
Yeah.
shoes? What do you reckon that is? A sort of like a marketing
Yeah. So like,
Defo.
if you think about it, like they release mad stuff all the time. So like high vis jackets,
The football boots.
the runners that look like Asics,
The ones that look like Lonsdales.
the ones that look like Lonsdale Designs, the bags that look like Tesco carrier bags, and it just happened to be that the one the other day that banged was the ones like the shoes
I
that
seen
looked a bit like Converse but were proper pastied.
Yeah.
And I think like they've been trying that for ages to get one of them to bang and go not mainstream but like get mainstream coverage.
Yeah.
And like it's just an incredible marketing technique, and it's worked out for them. So like that campaign that they did for those shoes that they only made like 100 of, they got more media attention and media dollars to attention worth than the whole campaign they did with Kim Kardashian. So it obviously works a treat for them. Do you know what I mean?
It's like we were talking about then. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone wants to comment on it. So it's the perfect way to do it because
Yeah.
with us, it was that video that everyone wanted to comment on. Everyone had something to say about. And then now it's the shoes. They're like, how can you sell shoes that aren't even like properly formed?
People
They're like,
buying them though.
there's only 100 being made of each.
Is it more like a collector's item than something to wear?
I wouldn't
say
even
so.
say it's a collector's item. Like I'd just say
I'd say people will have them now and they wouldn't wear them. They'd have them just to collect them rather than wear them if anyone did buy them.
yeah. So they released two types. They released ones that were ultra distressed that they released quite a lot of, and they were cheapest. They were $450, so about 400 quid. And then they released the ones that were like over 1,000, which were ultra distressed and like, they were in the runway show a bit more. So like they were the main focus of the campaign, and they only released 100 each of them. But yeah, I don't think they would sell out rapidly. I
Yeah.
don't think they're that in demand or anything.
Someone might like buy them and then sell them on for in 10 years' time for more.
I don't think so.
No, not that.
I don't think they're that type of shoe. Like, there definitely is types of shoe like the Virgil Abloh shoes that are out at the moment. You know, have you seen, like, they look like a bit like Air Force, and they have the strap over the toe, and they're like bright orange, bright yellow, blue, and then grey as well. Like, that will happen with them because obviously it was Virgil's last collection.
Yeah.
As when he was alive for the creative director's role at Louis Vuitton, and that those are like 950 quid from Louis Vuitton, and they'll sell for, like, even on the resale market now, they're already 1,800, $2,000.
Yeah.
So if you keep them for years, I think those ones will just go through the roof. And also the Nike and Louis Vuitton collection that they're doing now with the Air Force Ones, they were like, they got put on auction. I think the cheapest one was like 35,000.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Because they only released 200 of them. So yeah, there are definitely shoes out there that you can buy, hold, and sell later that we'll earn a lot of money off. But I don't think Balenciaga is a brand that you would be able to do that with.
Yeah, you've just mentioned then about only being 100 pairs of that. Have you ever sold any like rare sort of items on?
Nah, so we tried to get the Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones, and because it was on Sotheby's on an auction. And then we
set a budget.
We set a budget, and then they just went through the roof.
That ended very fast.
Yeah, they I think the most expensive pair went for like 250k.
But yeah.
What makes something worth that much though? Is it the market?
The exclusive,
the actual quality of it?
No, it's not the quality.
quality.
The quality's got nothing to do with it. I wouldn't. It's
the collaboration and exclusivity.
It has, but it's definitely low down on the like rankings. But it's definitely, like Joe said, exclusivity. And like the hype around the name of who it is. So if it's collaboration with a certain type of celebrity, that's what will make it so much in value. Like all the Virgil Abloh stuff now is just going to go through the roof, obviously, because he died. And then I'm trying to think of something else. Maybe it always comes back to Virgil Abloh. Like, he's had collections with Louis Vuitton in the past before he was creative director. There, like, we get some of that stuff in now, and like you can sell them for so much.
It's like the Dior and Air Force Ones as well.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
Because that was like the first time we would ever see a high-end brand collaborate with not a low-end brand, because I wouldn't say Nike's like low-end, but
just a sportswear brand,
yeah, like a sportswear brand.
They're all doing it now. Like, obviously Adidas done it with Balenciaga, Prada have done it with Adidas,
Gucci
Adidas. So there's
Balenciaga, Adidas.
Yeah.
They're all doing
so
it now.
yeah, there's loads of them now.
But yeah, the Dior Jordans were amazing. I think they were 10k. Like, they were getting resold for 10k. That was like the first big collaboration we seen that was getting sold for Brewsties like so much.
Yeah. Do you know what trend's going to happen? Like you just mentioned Jordans, like over the past like year to a few months.
Mm-hmm.
That's what have been a trend. Can you spot that happening before it actually happens because you're in the industry?
I think being in the industry we're in, so we're pre-loved. So like we're kind of a few seasons, maybe even a couple of years behind.
Yeah.
But because we're so involved in the fashion industry, I think we see fashion every single day. We can understand what is going to become big. So like like brands like Jacques Mousse, I'm sure you've seen it all around Liverpool.
The little tiny bag, you know, with that picture
with the big handles.
Oh man,
you must be on.
Seen that
like
picture that was on Twitter where it was like a typical Scouse and his beard, Moncler Grenoble and a Jacques Mousse orange bag.
We'll show you the picture afterwards.
Yeah, it's funny. It's quite funny.
But yeah, we could we definitely spot trends, but I would say not as much as you may think, because like I said, we're a few seasons behind, and I think probably the most recent trend that's coming up now is sportswear mixed with luxury fashion, and then big bags, and then Y2K as well. So like year 2000 stuff, like that's coming back into fashion a lot more. But yeah.
Go on, sorry.
This is a bit of a risky question for me, this, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've heard it on Dragons then. Do you have to get a patent for like your name and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's be trademark. Did trademark? He deals with all this stuff.
Yeah. So we trademark our name so that no one else can use it. And then that's pretty much it. Like, obviously the brands we sell, we're not like affiliated with them. And because we sell them second hand, that's why we can do that. But
we don't have to have any permission from the brands to sell the brands, basically, because like it's so like
patents as well are more for like
designs, aren't they?
Like designs, what's the word? Like inventions. Like if you that's something that you've designed and invented, you get a patent on that. If anyone ever wants to use it, they've got to come to you and pay you to use it. Whereas a trademark's just like our brand is trademarked. So if anyone tried to use our logo or use the brand of our
people
name,
have as well on TikTok all the time. There'd be a lot of people selling fake stuff from like China, Thailand, and Philippines. Like a lot of people selling fake stuff, and they just use our logo. And because we must have been banging around those areas. I think Philippines is like in our top 5 countries if he follows us.
Yeah.
And they like there was a lot of accounts who were just taking our logo and putting it on their profile, but then they were talking about luxury stuff, but it was obviously all fake. So like people would associate our logo with that, and obviously an element of trust there for the end consumer. But yeah, we got that sorted rapid, but there was not much we could do about that, was there? Because like you reach out to them and they're just like, no, we're not going to take it down.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Virgil Abloh before. What, like, he clearly seems like an inspiration to you.
Yeah.
But what are you, like, other inspirations? What are other, like, people or business people or whatever that, like, inspire you to?
So I'd say, for me personally, there's a lot of people who I've looked up to definitely in the past 3 or 4 years who I feel have helped me get to the place I'm in, like, at the moment. And that comes from a lot of different places. So, like, business, music, like motivational speakers and stuff like that. So I'd say definitely Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No.
That's incredible.
No.
I speak about him everywhere.
We've listened
everywhere
to him for like 4 years.
I would say I was listening to him since I was like 16. Like that fella's changed my life completely.
I remember we used to be in the shop and no one used to come in. We used to have
You should whack Gary V on, didn't we?
Gary V on the speaker just all day and just listen to what he was saying.
Oh, he's so sick. But he talks about business, but also like it's not just like how to become a good person in business. It's like just how to become a good person. And I definitely think he's helped me, like, just in life in general. And then Kanye West, just through music, just the way so I only started listening to Kanye West when I was like 17. So I had all his albums from when I was like 17 to listen to up until now. So I just used to consume myself with listening to him. I used to love his lyrics. And then when his documentary came out the other month, like, that was incredible. Like, I loved it. I've watched it like 4 times. Like, it's so sick. And then Jordan Peterson, we were talking before the podcast, like, love Jordan Peterson, his philosophy. And then...
Do you agree with everything he says?
No, but, like, I think that's good because I think if you agree with something everyone says, there's something definitely not right there. You definitely need to have your own opinion and stick up for what you think is correct. Why do you agree with everything he says?
I find him a fascinating but flawed character.
Is he the one who has the beef-only diet?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I've not heard that before.
It was on I think it was him, you know.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm sure he only eats beef, you know.
That's fine.
Honestly. Gotta look at right enough if that's not true, aren't I?
That's funny video.
Only eats beef.
Yeah.
No way. That can't be true.
Nah, I don't know.
surely.
You know, I think
Only eats beef.
Honestly, it was some sort of entrepreneur on a podcast. I seen it. He's saying he wouldn't recommend it to no one.
Nah, to be fair, you know what? It rings a bell, and I think it was the Stephen Bartlett one. You know, I think it might be.
Yeah.
And he was talking about
Carnivore diet.
Yeah, it's a carnivore diet. Now you said it, I think it rings a bell. Yeah, we'll look at it after innit, but I swear down. Yeah.
What do you think of talking to Stephen Bartlett? I think at the moment he's sort of the entrepreneur in Britain that's like... he's coming across like he's not just a business person, he's like becoming mainstream.
He's like an influencer type, celebrity type person now,
isn't he? Because he's on Dragon's Den now.
I
The
reckon
youngest
he's sick.
dragon ever.
I reckon he's sick. He's done a good job of what he... Because like, I listen to him all the time, and he's like, he was never good at one thing, and how he made his business explode was just hire the correct people. And he's done an amazing job of that, and you can tell he's a really, really good communicator. He's got the best podcast in Britain, hasn't he?
He's come from nothing. Have you read his book, Happy Sexy Millionaire?
Yeah, it's
I've listened to the first 6 chapters. I find him sometimes he's just a bit heavy sometimes.
He is, but
in
that's
terms of what
he's
you
like.
mean by that.
Like sometimes, like you've got to be in a certain mood to listen to.
Yeah,
I could listen to Joe Rogan at any point in the day, but with him sometimes it's a bit deep.
I think that's what you'll find with Gary Vaynerchuk if you listen to him. He's very full on all the time, so sometimes I reckon if you think that about Stephen Bartlett, you'd be the same. with
That's a
Gary
good point about
Vaynerchuk.
Stephen Bartlett, though. I agree. And there's definitely other people who I think about like that as well. You wanted the Mindset Mentor? He has a podcast. It's called Rob Dial. He's really good, and you have to be in a certain mood to listen to him. But he's helped us along the way. You have quite interesting inspirations.
Yeah, my inspirations are mad.
You're like, no one inspires me, but you do get like motivated by some people.
Yeah, I'd say I don't know why I can say like I don't have an inspirations, but people who do, who I'd say take things from which I have done.
I think you like how they live by, don't you?
Yeah, and so one of them's Bugsy Malone. You obviously know who he is.
Bugsy
So what
you've gone on about him for years.
Yeah, I started.
That's why I didn't expect you to say.
It's a mad one.
So when I was in uni, I think it was the second year in uni in the house, I heard the tune for the first time, and it was my mate from uni had it on. It was unbelievable. It was sick. But like listening to his lyrics, what he was saying, and then 2 years later he'd do everything he'd say. So like there was one where he's like, I'll be in a Guy Ritchie movie, and he's been in 2 now.
Yeah, that's
Like,
incredible.
Like he used to, like, he's been in prison and everything, changed his life around. Obviously, there's like just what he's come from to what he is now. It's crazy. Like, and fitness wise, like, he's an animal. I remember watching a documentary with him, and he works so hard. When I said, like, obviously other people have different hours in the day to work hard. He used to get, well, this is where I get up early. I get up at 5 every morning to go to the gym.
Yeah.
He was getting up at 5 and going on runs with bin bags on him, because he said, if you get the hardest part of your day done in the morning, the rest of your day's easy. And when I've heard that, that's what I tell myself every single day, and that's why I do everything hard in the morning. So I'll get up at 5, I'll read for half an hour, I'll go to the gym for 6, and then I'll train.
Your gym sessions are hard as well. I did a session with him on a Monday. I didn't recover till the next Monday. So train hard for like a good 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, feel fresh. I take the dog out for a walk after that, go into work, and then like nothing really feels hard. Feels like your day's just easy then. And that was from watching a documentary from Bugsy Malone.
Yeah.
And like I never thought
think you get that from him, would you?
Exactly. And it's just like seeing him scale from where he was to where he is now over the past 5 to 10 years.
I think what you like about him the most is that, like, and I think the other person you were going to say is, like, they just take action.
Yeah. So what they say they'll do, so they won't just talk about it and not do it, and just talk the talk. They'll say something, and they'll in 3 years down the line they've done it. So the other one's George Heaton.
Yeah.
Don't know if you George Heaton. Have you ever represent
The brand.
the brand? Yeah. So him and his brother George and Mike, they own that, and
They're very similar to Bugsy and Sam.
They are very
argue in terms of like the
animals.
hardcore
You should-
fitness they do is
you should
incredible.
see the training they do. It's
Yeah.
crazy, and they do that first thing in the morning as well. And I think that's like, I can relate to that, and that's what I want to do. I want to train as hard as them because of how they're building themselves over the past 5-10 years. The way that they've built themselves
They've been
into their
so
brand.
consistent.
Yeah.
So consistent, and like we've been doing it for 2-3 years of that sort of consistency, but they've been doing it for 10.
And I'm
12.
thinking, if I can do what I'm doing for as long as they can, then if I get to anywhere near what they're at or going to,
Yeah.
then I'll be happy.
Do you ever think you could burn out because of that, though?
I just like consistency. So I feel like if I do that every day, I need that routine. And then if I'm not doing it, I feel like I'd burn out if I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'd feel like I'm twiddling my thumbs, not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'd love to know the percentage of, like, you know, entrepreneurs like yourselves who go to the gym. Because do you feel like most entrepreneurs go to the gym?
I would say
it's set the day up like that.
I would say it's a. So I was thinking this, like, that's my say. I was thinking it the other day, and I think it's so. There's loads of different types of entrepreneurs, and I would say, like, the main ones are like ones that make money, like they're just bothered about making sales, making money, making revenue, and then there's ones that are building brands, building communities, and I feel like we're trying to build a brand, build a community, and I feel like the consistency and the effort and the continuous work you have to put in to build a community and build a brand is hard, and I feel like it's mad because you could compare it to going to the gym because you're constantly working on your body, you're constantly working on your brand. It's the same thing, and it kind of like intertwines with each other. Where it's like it kind of aligns, like going to the gym, working on yourself. So George Heaton always says it's like work on self, work on body, work on brand, and like that's a really, really good way of putting it. And I like, to your point, I'd say that people who are trying to build brands, I'd say like 90% probably go to the gym.
Well, all the people we've named here.
Percentage.
So Joe Rogan goes to the gym.
Yeah.
George Heaton goes to the gym. Bugsy Malone goes to the
Rishal
gym. Rishal Barra goes to the gym.
Ben Francis.
Stephen Bartlett goes to the gym. Ben Francis built a company going to the gym.
Yeah, I'd say it's a really high percentage. Yeah.
You've mentioned like a lot of like inspirations from like, you know, podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How long a day do you spend listening to like a podcast and stuff like that?
So I'd say, if you're not earning, you should be learning. So once you finish your day at work, you need to be going home and learning, whether that be reading podcasts, listening to podcasts, reading books, writing, just like doing anything you can to learn and consume information. Like, I think information's the key to everyone's success, and the more you can get of it, the more chances of success that you're going to get. So I think whenever we're not working, like whenever we go in the car together or whenever we go in the car by ourselves, like it's always podcast.
Yeah. Well, it's like you say, learning. Whenever me, Ben and Ben are together, all we do is talk about like what we're doing and how to improve. And I
think constantly wanting to improve and work on ourselves and trying to get to that next step is just, it just like because we're so consumed about what we do on the daily, it's like building the brand, building the company, trying to become successful in what we do and how we see success is like, yeah, it just comes very natural to us to want to do that.
Do you find it hard to switch off and separate like work life to personal life?
Yeah, there's like.
And do you think that's unhealthy at times as well?
So I'd say like personal life for me, especially because, like, you could argue because you have a girlfriend, you would switch off. Sometimes it's easy for you to switch off, but for me personally, I would say I find it very difficult to switch off. But not to say that I don't like that. Like I like being constantly involved and constantly thinking about it.
Which this ties into me not being able to switch off, because say if I go home and I'm having the tea with my girlfriend, Poppy, he'll be texting me and she'll just be like, you've just been with him the whole day working, why are you still talking about work with him? Yeah. And it's like whenever he comes around, because he's moved out now, I'm saving for a house, so hopefully I'll be out soon. Whenever he comes around, all we do is talk about work, and my girlfriend's like, why are you talking about work? That's all you do all day together.
Yeah, I just think that's life though. When you have your business and when you're trying to grow something, it's just always at the forefront of your mind.
It's all we're thinking about.
Coming back to your point of being unhealthy, I think it's only unhealthy if it affects relationships, if it affects your mental health and physical health, and I don't think it has for me personally. I
think it's made it better.
Yeah, anything. I'd say I've become a better person through it.
Friends find it, say like someone just has a normal job.
Yeah.
Do they find it hard to understand that you're constantly have to be on it because it's your own business?
Definitely.
Yeah, so I would say so. But then what I find is really important, what helps me is, for the past couple of years, is like, I think you get onto that early. So when you're starting your business and you're trying to speak to all your friends about it, you get onto it early, who's interested and who's not bothered, and who doesn't really get it and stuff like that. And I think what's important is spending time with only quality people. So people who will get it, people who want to be in the conversation, and then limiting your time with those people who don't want to speak about it. Like obviously sometimes you need to turn off, and it's good to see your friends and like not speak about it at all. But you don't want to be speaking to people who aren't bothered about it with them, because it kind of sucks out of you as well. Like you're trying to explain it and you can tell someone's not bothered, but I think that's just something you learn. And I think you know over the years, like who to speak to about it and who not to speak to about it, and then if you want to speak about it, you know, to the type of people you want to be around when you are speaking about it. But yes, when I was definitely starting a business and when it was just on my mind constantly, and I didn't get that other people didn't get it, it used to frustrate me and stuff like that. But now I completely get it, and like people have their own lives in it, they don't want to be listening to what I'm doing.
Can you remember like the first like big month of sales you had?
Yeah, I'd say we had a crazy Black Friday. Like that was great. Like we were building consistently and like getting increasing month on month. And then when we did Black Friday, it was like
did 100 orders in a day, and to us then it was massive.
Wait, was this the first Black Friday? Oh yeah,
I'd say from what we were, 100 sales in a day was massive.
Yeah, that was the first Black Friday.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I was talking about the most recent Black Friday.
Yeah, the most recent Black Friday.
That was crazy.
Yeah,
but
that
yeah,
was crazy.
The first Black Friday, 100 orders in a day. Like we do that quite consistently on drop days now, innit? But that was like, wow, like that was,
So I mean, that was the biggest, like, from not doing.
For like doing 100 a month, it was.
Yeah,
and then we did 100 a day. That was like 2000.
So it's like the first biggest, like, wow, this is
2019, 2020, something like that.
2020, yeah, 2020.
I don't know. It was one of them. Yeah. But yeah.
What would you say the best piece of advice is you've ever heard?
That was a good question. I seen, obviously Luke sent them over to me before. And I think for me personally, I would say the best thing I've understood and I've kind of come to realization is like in the best way possible, like no one cares about you. Like, but like people could take that one way or another.
Yeah.
And like, so like obviously your close friends and your close family, they care about you. Like that's just standard. Like people, but like people are worried a lot. And I think everyone's guilty of it, of what other people think. And like there's a boss quote that Gary Vaynerchuk always says, and it's like, when you going into school and you have a spot on your face, but they're American, so they say zit. So when you have a zit on your face and you go into school, you're worried about what everyone's gonna say about your zit or your spot on your face. But the thing is, everyone's too worried about the zit on their spot to even care about the zit on your the zit on your face to even care about the zit on your face. And I think that's a really good way of putting it. It's like everyone's got their own problems, everyone's dealing with what they're dealing with, and everyone thinks that everyone cares about them. And I think it's kind of like a selfish way to look at. So if you think that, so say that I think that Luke cares about what I'm doing, I think that's kind of like selfish of me, that I think that these other people care about me. So I think that just like understand. It's so liberating when you realise it, especially like it definitely was for me. Like when I realised that you can do whatever you want, obviously as long as it's not harming anyone, not upsetting anyone, and nobody cares. Like that's just the best way I can put it. Like nobody cares. Do whatever you want to do. Do whatever makes you happy. As long as you're not hurting anyone, just do it.
I want to follow on from that question. What piece of advice would you give to like your younger self, 15, 16-year-old?
I'll let you answer first, innit?
Mine's read more and get up early. Because I never used to get up early, and then as soon as I started getting up early, it's like just changed the way. Yeah. It just changed my, like literally I'd say it's changed my life. Because everything you can do in the morning. So like when I worked with someone, I used to save as I work for 8, 9. I'd get up half an hour before and then go to work. Now I don't get in the office till 9, but I'm up at 5. So like when you choose to get up early, it just changes because you want to do it, and then you've got 4 hours before you go to work to do whatever you want to do. So like when you come home from work, if I'm working late, I've done loads in the morning, so it doesn't really bother me that much. Yeah. I'm reading more. Like I was having a conversation with a mate, literally, it was either yesterday or the day before. We were saying, imagine if we started reading earlier, like the knowledge you'd have, like just like I'd say the knowledge you get about different perspectives, how different people work, just the language you get from reading books as well. Mm-hmm. Your vocabulary, I can't even say the word. The vocabulary.
It's not that good then.
No, but it broadens, and you can have proper, good in-depth conversations. Yeah. And it is amazing. And if I could read earlier, I'd have definitely done it.
How long did it take your body to sort of like switch to being able to get up at 5?
I would say it's about 2 to 3 months. For me personally, it was.
For me, I reckon it took me a week.
Yeah, you're quite quick.
As soon as you, like, people say, it's like on diets, I'll start on Monday. Mm-hmm. You just need to start it. As soon as you do it, the first 2 are hard. Yeah. And as soon as you've done it, you've done it then. Like, what's the point in stopping?
I was always a night owl. Like, I would stay up till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
Yeah, you used to get annoyed with me that I didn't stay up late to work, but I was better in the morning, so I knew if I go to bed early, I'll get more work done in the morning, and it'll be more productive.
Yeah, and then I seen him doing all this, and like we were saying back to the beginning, like we're very competitive. I was seeing him getting up early, and I was like, oh, I want to get up early like him. So that's what changed me, and that is not to say it's for everyone. Different people work in different ways. But I just feel like just to live a healthier life, it's for me personally, it was just a little bit better getting up earlier.
But just say, like, you don't probably have like one big goal, but what's sort of your ambition?
We do. We have what's our big, hairy, audacious goal?
Yeah, I think just being in the same conversations as Selfridges, Harvey Nichols, Flannels, Harrods. Like when people, like I was writing about this the other night, and I was like, when people go to buy stuff, we want to be in a conversation. It's like, oh, I'm going to like when people say I'm going to buy a new pair of shoes, or oh, I'm going to Lux Collective, I'm going to Selfridges, I'm going to Harrods, like one of them two. Or when they're buying a pair of shoes from Selfridges, they're like, oh, but I can sell my old ones to Lux Collective so I can get these. So we just want to be in a constant conversation of like the big hitters in the designer industry. And I don't think we're too far away. Like if I'm being honest, I think 3, 4, 5 years of constantly what we're doing and growing how we're growing, I think we'll get there. And I think definitely with the sustainability factor of how important it is and how important it's becoming to not just the younger generation, but everyone's becoming more environmentally conscious. I think we're in a really good position, and I don't think we're too far away.
Yeah, so before, you got any more questions? Or finish
would you ever consider starting like your own podcast? Because I think you're both very good slurs. Yeah.
Every podcast I've been on, swear down, they've said that, like, are you going to start your own podcast? I think, yeah, definitely, because like I said to you before, I love speaking about myself. an hour and a half speaking about myself, happy days, like I love it. But I think it's just like the right timing, and
we've got a lot of work to do ourselves.
Yeah, and the right guests, because there's like the certain guests that I want, I don't know whether we'll get yet, and I think eventually we'll do it. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
But I'd just say like the best compliments you've ever had as a business is.
That's such a good question.
That's a very good question. That is good. The best compliment?
I don't know,
The best compliment?
Can you think of any? I can't think of any.
all the compliments I can think of is just through our service.
Joe telling me I'm really good and me telling Joe.
So obviously I deal a lot more with customers really because I'm speaking to them on a daily, and what I've found is when people like are really impressed with what we've given them and the service we've offered them, and they've actually emailed us. So the other day there was an email on our returns email. She was returning something, but she was that happy about her service. She said she's recommended us to all her mates, and they're all looking on our website every week. And it's like, even though you bought something from us and you're returning it, you're that happy with what we've offered you and the service we've given you.
Yeah.
You're telling all your mates how good we are, and you haven't even like you haven't benefited from it because what you bought didn't fit. It's coming back, but you can't wait to buy again, and it's like that's amazing.
We have a board in the office, in it. Like, loads of people always write us notes because obviously they've seen us on TikTok for the past few years, and we've kind of built like a personal connection with them. They've written us notes, and we have a big note board in the office where like we stick up all the notes, and there's loads of like nice ones on there. And it's nice to receive them. Like, it's amazing to receive them. Like, even new starters who start with us, so our team, when they first start speaking to customers, like there's everyone has like their first note on there, so like everyone's received a note, and when someone gets their first note, it's like it's such a nice feeling for me and Joe as well, because it's like they're really putting the effort in, and they're really coming across well how the brand used to come across when it was just me and Joe dealing with customers. Like, we've kind of built them into the culture of the same thing, and they're obviously showing it because customers are reacting the same way. So that's always nice to see, definitely, when we get notes from customers.
What would you say like the hardest thing is running the business?
So for me, we definitely have different ones, but for me, I definitely find it harder. I definitely struggle, and I'm really open and honest about this, is like dealing with the people we employ. Not like dealing with them, but like I've never managed people. Like, I'm still young, I'm only 22. The only job I've had where I've had to manage things is managing trolleys in Tesco's car park. Like, I've never managed people, and it's definitely hard for me, and I'm always reading and learning and trying to become a better person at it. But that's why I leave most of that stuff up to Joe and Ollie, because they're really good at it. But for me, definitely dealing with people.
Have you had to like teach yourself about that? Like, have you ever had any motivational like?
Yeah, so there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. I've read it about 3 or 4 times. It's Joe's favourite book as well. Like, he got me on it. It's my favourite book. Like, I love it. I've listened to it a couple of times as well.
I reckon everyone should read it.
Everyone should, like, swear down, if you haven't read it, read it, because it's not like obviously the you will know from doing the captions on YouTube and TikTok that like How to Win Friends and Influence People, that's just like a catchy title to get you to read it. It's how to deal with people, how to get the best out of people, how to learn from people, how to widen your perspective, how to understand other people a lot better. And it's if I was to say read one book for like the rest of my life, it would be that one.
Yeah.
How many books would you both say you've read?
I've only started reading properly again, I'd say, in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
And I reckon I've set a target for this year to do 12 books. I think I've read overall over the past 18 months about 18 books, I'd say.
Yeah, you've read a lot in it. I would say, like I was saying before to you guys, when you were saying like what's your weakness, I was like, well, start one thing and do loads of other things. So I reckon I've started about 50 books, but probably read only about 20, 25.
And then that's where my consistency is. I'm trying to do one a month, so I've done 18.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think that's a good thing though, like starting new books, and then if you're not feeling it, just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I think with books especially, it's really, because like people sometimes read books for like ego and be like, or just finish books for ego. It's like, I want to finish this book out, but like I've read a book before and I've thought, I don't know anything I've just read there. So I think if you're not clicking with it, if you're not understanding, just move on.
Yeah.
And I think what really helps me is like audiobooks. Like, audiobooks are so easy to whack on in the car.
Yeah, they are a lot. I've only just got onto them recently, but they are a lot better.
Good.
Yeah.
So what, have you started any recently?
So I finished Eddie Hearns in like 3 days.
That's sick.
He's someone for me, I just reckon he's boss.
Yeah.
What's Eddie Hearns like? Is it good?
It's good as you go through. He says, like, going back to like what Molly-Mae was saying, he says, yeah, I was brought up with a silver spoon.
Yeah.
But he turned it gold.
Yeah,
He puts it in a good way rather than saying, oh, I was a rough kid, and he doesn't say that. He like acknowledges the fact he was privileged.
That's a good
which I like about him.
I would say if you liked Eddie Hearns one, it's kind of like an autobiography, would you say, or biography of his life? I'd say a bit controversial recently, but Will Smith's one.
Yeah.
His one's incredible. It's about 14 hours, I think. It's a very long one, but his life is crazy. It's sick, and it's very motivating. But some of the stuff he says, it's a bit like like you've just slapped someone on stage, and it's gone against a lot of the things you've said. But still, the kind of like story he portrays and lets people know of the challenges he went through. It's very inspiring. So if you liked Eddie Hearns, you'll love Will Smith as well.
Might have to give that a listen.
I would recommend it.
So you've mentioned like Joe Rogan and stuff like that. If you could get invited on like one podcast to talk, whose would it be?
For me, it's between Stephen Bartlett and then Jake Humphries. So the High Performance Podcast and then Darry, the CEO. But I'm not ready for them yet. I'm not ready for them.
That's exactly what I was going to say to you. Them are two favourites.
Yeah.
Like, obviously...
The High Performance one's sick. You would suit the High Performance one more so.
Jake Humphries is amazing. Have you listened to him at all?
Yeah, we were speaking on the way in before. Like, I listened to the one with David Moyes.
Yeah.
And like it was boss. I didn't expect David Moyes to be so open about things, like especially being an Everton fan as well. And seeing him, like he seems quite like a stern fella, but he probably opened up. It was good,
I think to go on that.
Yeah,
he's got so many good ones, you know, like
the high performance ones. Yeah, there's one called what's Rick, the fella in America. It's so good. He was like the first black billionaire.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And for me, it certainly clicked because it's more Rick Lewis on the High Performance. It's amazing. He came from nothing and then became billionaire. But like the way he did it, and the thing that stuck out to me was like the rules he set himself and the boundaries like he set everyone else, and like the non-negotiables is like a phrase that comes up a lot. That like you stick by and you stick to. And if you be consistent with it, you be disciplined with them, you will be successful. I would recommend listening to that one. It's so good.
Big one is on the High Performance as well as the James Timpson one.
Oh, you went on about that.
We have took so much from that podcast and how he operates in business.
Yeah.
To like some
Timpson should be onto them.
The shoe and the key.
Yeah.
So
incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing the way that he changed from how his dad ran it to how he did it. It's just amazing.
He has two rules: look presentable, and then
always be on time.
There's only two rules, and he hires ex-convicts, so like people who've been in prison.
Yeah.
He and people who have been like in the army and like been homeless and stuff like that. He hires all people like that. It's such a good podcast.
Just his values he has to running a company and to giving your employees his boss. And
I think that's why podcasts are so inspirational, because you can kind of relate to these people who are like seen as like untouchable. Like you can relate to them in some aspects.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely the one.
I reckon that's probably the best
podcast
one I've listened to from the High Performance one. James Timpson.
Yeah.
If anyone's trying to run a business or wants to run a business, he's like exemplary on how to do it and how to do it well.
Is there any advice you'd give to someone who's like looking to start up a business now?
Like we were saying before, don't be afraid to take risks.
Yeah.
Don't stop.
Be consistent, because like what I say all the time is like just show up. Like just show up. Never, like it doesn't matter whether like you have a good day, you have an effective day, you have an efficient day. Just get in the routine of showing up. So like if you turn up, like there'll be some people out there who turn up 2 days a week, work really hard, but then 3 days because they own their own business, they'll have it off. And I think that's so bad for like longevity and consistency and discipline. And I just think they're the
So you set goals as well. So what motivates me in business is seeing progression, or just in life, because you go to the gym because you want to see progression. I started, like I set myself a target in January. I did a 5K after Christmas, and I did it in 26 minutes. And I was like, geez, I am unfit here. So I set targets, and one of them was run 5K in under 20 minutes. And it took me 3-4 months to do it. I ended up doing it. But as soon as you've done it, it's like, now what's my next goal?
The next thing.
But like, if you set yourself goals, do that in business as well. It's like even if you think that's because that's cutting 6 minutes off my time. If anyone runs, that's hard. So it's like if you can do that, and if you get to that goal, then you set another even bigger goal, even better goal, and you're constantly working towards a goal, and you're constantly seeing progression.
I think it comes back to complacency kills, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Just don't just do everything you can.
And find something that motivates you to do it, because if you don't have any motivation, it's going to be very, very difficult to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like both of you seem very, very ambitious. Has that always been the case since you were kids?
I think so, innit? Like you went as a kid, like your probably main goal was to become a footballer. Yeah. And then mine was probably to become a cricket player. So we've always had like high goals, and then I think yeah, like it's an interesting question because we haven't really reflected on it because we're around each other so much, and like you describing it as ambitious for us, it just seems
It's more
normal.
competitiveness again, because
Yeah.
I always want to be the best at whatever I'm doing, like, or be better than the person I'm doing it with.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not saying I'd be better than Ben, but what I'm saying is the people or the companies that we're now doing this again, who are doing in this industry, like, we want to be better than them, and that's constant motivation.
So like when
And
we
constant
say all these
goals.
stuff about going on these podcasts and becoming the company we want to become, like for us, like people listening might be like, oh, that's like a big stretch, or like that's like a bit ambitious. For us, it just seems like it's going to happen.
It's not if, it's not if, it's
Yeah.
when.
It's just a matter of time. So like, yeah,
That's-
that's an
that's
interesting
an- that's
question. It's
another
not really something I've thought about too deeply.
Another
Yeah,
thing that
well-
I'd say that Ben's taught me, which is a mad thing to say, which it took me by surprise when obviously I'm 5 years older than him. I don't like admitting that he's teaching me stuff, but he taught me how to think like long-term thinking, because I was very short-term minded, and I think that was because of, I'm not sure, the company I hold, I don't know, something around that. But as soon as Ben started to get me thinking long-term, like just the work you put in the long run
It's
is
like
gonna,
delayed gratification.
yeah.
So like the work you put in now, if you're expecting stuff to come straight away, like it's not going to happen. And if it does, if it comes fast, it doesn't last.
Yeah.
Like if that happens, and you do get instant reward off it, there's something not right. So like all the work you have to put in, like just like it goes back to consistency and discipline. Just always keep going, and understand that if you're not getting anything back instantly, that's like kind of like that's how it should be.
It's
That's-
okay.
It's okay. Like if you're out there working, grafting away, and nothing's happening, keep on going and keep doing it. And I think what taught me that was like Gary V especially, but like the TikTok. So like I posted 3 videos on average a day for like 8 months until we began to get any traction whatsoever. So I think we grew like 10k followers, and then from 10k to 20k, and then from 20k after the 8 months to 100k dead rapid. So like it was like all that 8 months I put in, it just came off like that. And I think it's easy for me to say and like explain it to Joe because I saw it firsthand. Like I personally put all the work in, and then 8 months later I got the rewards back. So like I understand that it can happen, but for someone out there who is kind of like grafting away and putting all this work in and nothing's happened for them yet, like it obviously it's hard for them to understand, but like trust, like it will happen eventually. And like it's kind of like that thing, if you're aiming to something and you're always working on something and you're always trying to like go a step closer to that place, you are going to end up there. It's just everyone has different times of when they are when they will arrive.
It's like
Yeah.
if you reach for the moon, you'll at least get to the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so have you got any more questions, Luke?
Yeah, we finish up with it's on brand, this, talking about brands. What's your favourite pint?
Favourite pint? Like favourite pint? What's your favourite pint?
I say mine's always Peroni or Blue Moon.
Peroni gives you a headache though.
Red
Yeah.
Peroni.
Red
Yeah, Peroni's good.
I've
It's
never
very
had a
rare
pint.
in pint
I've
form.
never had a
though.
pint of it
Yeah, I've
though.
never had it. Only bottles.
Only in bottles,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd say
yeah.
beer Moretti to be fair. That's what
I-
I'll go to if they had
Standards.
them in a row.
I would say Heineken,
Yeah.
just because in Barcelona once we went, this when I was like proper young as well, and my dad was like, that's the best pint of Heineken I've ever had. And then since then I've just loved Heineken.
Yeah,
I don't even drink that much either, but like if
we had
there's
a good
pint of
one
Heineken,
in
I'll
the
be like,
Amsterdam airport the other day, didn't we?
yeah, on the way to Vegas.
Extra cold.
Yeah,
like,
in like the frosty glasses.
The
Yeah,
blue
yeah, yeah.
ones now.
Yeah.
They was quite nice.
Sounds
to be fair.
good, sounds good.
Yeah.
Where can people find you then?
So our TikTok is Lux Collective, YouTube Lux Collective, Instagram Lux Collective _ LinkedIn I'm Ben Gallagher, Joe Gallagher. Yeah, that's all the socials we're on. Instagram
Instagram.
Ben Gallagher 09, and then your Instagram.
Joe Gallagher _ nice and simple.
Yeah, so thanks very much for that,
Yeah,
boys.
no,
I hope people have taken a lot away from that, because I think we
I
probably
definitely
have as well.
Nah, it's class. Thank you for inviting
Yeah.
us on. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your time, boys.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.